how to answer people who criticize the penalty of zina in Islam. As far as the penalty of zina in Islam is there, there are hadith, there's a verse in the Quran which says in Surah Nur, chapter number 24, that if anyone indulges in the act of zina, fornication, you flog them with 100 lashes. And there is another verse in the Quran, Surah Nisa, chapter number 15, which says that when anyone involves in zina, close them into a door till that takes place, or until Allah gives some other punishment. And the other punishment was revealed in Surah Nur, that they should be flogged 100 lashes. That is for a person who does fornication. Fornication means having sexual intercourse with a na-mahram who's not your spouse before marriage. And the other is adultery, having intercourse with a na-mahram who's not your spouse. And if a person is married, it's called as adultery. So the punishment for adultery that is given in the hadith is stoning to death. Now the question posed is that how can you prove that the punishment for zina given in Islam is correct? What you have to understand, that in the Islamic law, the punishments are kept as a deterrent. It's not very simple that all the punishments that are mentioned, it's black and white. For example, we know the Quran says in Surah Ma'idah, chapter number 5, verse number 38, as to the thief, chop off his or her hand as a punishment from Allah. But there are no less than 80 evidences required before you chop the hand. It's not that anyone chop the hand. You should see what is the value of the thing he has robbed. It should not be small, it should be big. And the thing is robbed should be in locker. It should not be kept in the open. If it's kept in the open, then chopping of hands is not there. There are various rules and regulations. And if anyone is missing, this punishment cannot be carried forward. Similarly, for zina, the punishment, as I mentioned, is 100 lashes if he or she is not married, and stoning to death if he or she is married. Now, when we read the hadith of the Prophet, there are hardly one or two hadith, or two I think hadith, in which this punishment of stoning to death was given. One hadith states when a woman comes and herself she proclaims and testifies to the Prophet that she has done zina and she wants to be punished, the Prophet turns the face. Again she comes, again he turns, again she comes, then he says, okay, come when you give birth to the child. So the Prophet was trying to evade her. And finally, when she comes after many times and the child is born, then the Prophet says that, okay, that she should be stoned to death. And when some of the people said that what an evil woman she was, then the Prophet said, if you know that the forgiveness she asked from Allah, if a forgiveness were distributed in Medina, it would be sufficient to forgive everyone's sin. So that means this woman, she was so fearful to Allah that she committed a major sin of zina, and she wanted to repent, and she wanted the punishment in this world so that in next world she will get Jannah. And the Prophet said that her sin has been forgiven. There are hardly 2 or 3 incidents in which the situation of stoning to death is. Now, as far as zina is concerned, there's a difference between rape and a difference in zina. Rape is zina bil jabr, where someone is forcefully raping a woman. So in rape also, the death penalty is there. But in rape, it is forcefully being done. Here your question is zina, in which a man and woman, they agree for a thing which is haram. They are not married, and yet they agree to do intercourse. In such cases, I don't know. Though in Saudi Arabia, this law is applicable. In Saudi Arabia, this law is applicable that if you do zina, then what naturally require 4 witnesses. and to get 4 witnesses is difficult. So this punishment is more of a deterrent. And even there are cases in Saudi Arabia that if a man or a woman, if they come and tell to the judge that, okay, they have done zina, so the judge, because I've interacted with many judges in Saudi Arabia, so they said that then we give a break. During the break, the lawyer goes and tells the woman or the man that tell you didn't commit zina. So the main had penalty can be avoided. So here the maqasid of Sharia is that it acts like a deterrent. You don't hear anyone being stoned to death nowadays. I don't know how many in the history of Islam in 1400 years. There may be very few cases that you might have found that death penalty has been given for zina, for fornication. Yes, for rape, there are many. But zina means voluntary, a man and a woman who are not husband and wife, they do fornication or adultery. You have not heard of the death penalty being given because the maqasid of Sharia is more it is as a deterrent. And because of that, mashallah, this evil in society, that is fornication and adultery, it is a heinous crime. It's a heinous sin. It is the 10th major sin in Islam. And this acts more as a deterrent so that, and you know the amount of, because today it's so common in the Western world. In the Western world, it's very common for a woman to have sex before she's married. It's extremely common. According to statistics, more than 95% of the women, before they pass the university, they lose their virginity. So it's very common. So this punishment is more as a deterrent. It's not actually implemented as a deterrent so that if you are caught, you avoid doing this sin. And because of this major sin, there are various other things that can happen. The family can get ruined, your life can get ruined, there are various diseases, the married life is completely ruined, the family structure, fabric is completely changed. So this is a deterrent, and I do agree with it. And as far as the punishment for rape is concerned, it's totally correct. That for rape, death penalty should be given. That's the reason the least rate of rape in any country in the world, it's in Saudi Arabia. Because if a person rapes, if a man rapes any woman, and if he's caught, not that you require 4 witnesses, the other circumstantial witnesses or the other circumstantial evidence is also sufficient. The 4 witnesses only in the case of zina. So this is a deterrent, and it's the best in terms of curbing rape. And you know today, the country which has the maximum number of rape, it's USA. Every 40 seconds rape is taking place, every 20 second rapes are taking place. If you implement this rule, that if the rapist is put to death, inshallah, even in America or Western countries, the rate of rape would decrease. Hope that answers the question.